Yes, attention parents, this one's for you. If you find yourself focused mainly on your family's needs, you may be in what's called camel mode. According to The Cut, it's a life phase where you're in a self-care desert, allowing other people's needs to supersede your own. Can you guys relate to this? Sherry, I'll start with you.
Oh, absolutely. When people ask me questions about what happened in certain periods of my children's lives, like for myself, like what was I doing? What was my hair like? I have no idea. Oh. Because I was completely living for those kids. Now, my youngest is 17, I have 3.
Okay.
My youngest is 17, you guys, I am almost free. I'm almost
But was there ages, like, or are you still somewhat in camel mode?
You have to stop saying camel mode because I'm hearing something totally.
Me too.
Sorry.
Is it just me?
Yeah, no, not just you.
I thought it was just me. Yeah.
No.
Everyone's
Okay.
saying camel toe.
Camel toe.
Everyone.
No, I'm good.
It's true.
It's you know, when they're younger, obviously when they're babies and they need you and they're attached, but really up until I think school, you know, you drop them off at school and then you're like, what do I do with myself? Who am I even? It's a strange thing.
I don't relate to this camel mode, but I did. There was a time when about 6 months after giving birth to this show, I was going to say, but I had given birth a few months after the show began. And I mean, this is why I wrote a book about this crisis moment that I realized that I couldn't remember the last time I'd done anything for me, that I was kind of just doing and not living. I was mired in to-do lists and, you know, mother guilt and all these kind of expectations. And I just felt like I was out of my own body. And so it was a kind of active choice to start going through and finding things that brought me pleasure and carving them into my life. But it hasn't been easy. And I will say that when I did my book tour, I met so many women and spoke to so many women who said that they lived their entire lives in service of their partners and of their children, that when they got to the end of that, or they were divorced or retired or whatever, that they had no idea even what brought them joy. And to me, there was something extraordinarily tragic in that. I will say I only have one child, so maybe it's a bit easier, but right now I am actually, and I hope other people are listening to me, are gonna start making active choices to carve in, to get out of camel mode, camel toe.
No, Cynthia! Camel mode to get into camel toe. I actually think it's no, I think you're totally right. I think age has something to do with it, maybe. I was 37 when I had my daughter, which according to my fertility clinic is advanced maternal age. Please drop that, okay? That does not make anybody feel good. But at 37, I knew who I was. I have had a full life, a career, and friends, and travel. And so maybe, just maybe, that saved my sanity, because when I had Marquesa and you go into this, wow, this spinning, dark, spiraling hole, because you're like, this is not uplifting, I'm sorry. When I finally kind of popped up and I was like, okay, I'm still here, I'm alive, I was like, who am I? Get back to Melissa, because while motherhood changes your identity as it should, I also didn't want to be completely sucked into that's all I am now. And I think because I was 37, I knew who I was, actually. I had a very strong sense of self. And so 4 weeks after I had Marquesa, where I was like, oh my God, is everybody alive? Okay, she's alive, everybody's good, boobs okay, down here's okay, everything's good. I said to my girlfriends, get me out. So we went to a Weekend and Drake concert. So
That's a nice way to get out of it.
I literally, and I know people will say, oh, what, are you trying to run away from motherhood? No, I just needed a sense to come up for air, just for a minute. And I'm very lucky. I have a great support system. Not everybody has that. I have my mother, my mother-in-law, a caregiver. Like, the whole community came together and said, Melissa, get out. And that saved me. And I will say, I think it is possible, because even though my daughter's 9 now, I make myself a priority because I'm a better mother when my cup is full.
Talk about that.
It's not easy, though. It's not easy.
And you know what? I've heard these stories from every single one of my girlfriends, everything that you guys have said, and it's been very interesting because I think this is also maybe a generational thing. Because growing up, my mom had 2 kids, all of her friends, they all were young, they got married young, and they had their kids young. And I felt like The parenting was different back then. We were like luggage, where we went wherever they went. My mother, there's lots of pictures of her at a party, crop top, drink in hand, and I'm somewhere sleeping on a bed of coats. And that was the norm. We all did that. And now I see my friends who I grew up with and their moms, and now their kids have soccer 4 days a week. And this one has this 4 days a week. And they're so packed in, and it's like, yeah, of course, how are you gonna have a life? You are literally living and booking your kid so you don't have a moment for yourself, and if you do, you feel guilty about it. I don't remember my mother ever feeling guilty. She got her nails done every week, she got her hair done every week, she went out all the time, and so was my dad was there, my aunts were there, everybody was there, and it was accepted. No one gave those women a hard time about getting dressed, putting on some makeup, and going out. It was the norm. If you stayed home, you were the weirdo. So I think it's a generation. Right, I think it's a generational thing. Yeah. I didn't grow up with that.
And it's so much judgment too. You know, I just spent half a year last year. I was in Los Angeles as part of a writer's room for an HBO show. And one of the things that we talked about as screenwriters was that, you know, if you're creating a character, especially a female character, do not make that character a parent. You don't want to write a mother. And the idea behind it was, if you make the character a mother, then that child needs to be on screen all the time with them, and that's boring. Because as soon as you remove the child from the character, the audience will only think,
where's her child?
Where's her child?
Wow.
Who's watching her kid? Yeah, so it's constant judgment and feedback. And I remember those days. I remember, you know, I was born in '75. We were feral.
Yes. They would lock you out.
They would lock you out.
They would lock you out of the house and be like, do not come back here until the lights run outside. And it's like, oh, okay.
You need a drink?
From the
There's a
hose.
hose. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Can we
remember
bring that back? Can we bring those days back?
I don't think it's coming back, honey.
No.
Thanks for watching. We've got lots more discussion and debates on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.